try, and that from 21-year-old Sam Scott, his first for the club. So Leigh getting the second half underway and looking to pick their performance up after, by their standards, especially here at home, a subdued first 40 minutes. And when you think that they've done the treble over the Eagles already this season, and in 2 of those games they won handsomely, 68 points to 6 and 44 points to 8. They had the upper hand over the Eagles, but not so this evening. But this is the playoffs.
Well, Leigh were very slow out of the changing rooms. In a good couple of minutes, Sheffield were outside waiting for them. Sheffield keen and eager, and we'll probably see and find out what was said in the changing rooms at half-time. But Sheffield need to keep their energy and enthusiasm levels high, because you'd expect them to tire. But as you quite rightly said, Bill, it's the Leigh Centurions who look like last week's game has absolutely zapped them.
Leigh in possession with Donlan. Opportunity to hear from the sidelines, and Rod Studd.
Well, very different start to the second half from the 3 times they've been here before. Sheffield Eagles, they were 34-0 down, 26-2 down, and 24-10 down. Tonight they lead 8-0. Good news on the injury front. Simon Brown is okay. His nose is a bit of a mess, Bill, but he's good to go for the second half. Mark Aston saying they came out, the message was no fear. They're 40 minutes away from the final, and they really do believe they can get the job done in the second half. Well, Ian Millwood, I think, was a concerned man, Bill. He said last week they're off the pace. They haven't improved from that. They're playing like a side that looks tired, and they lack a lot of cohesion. Didn't sound very positive, Ian Millwood, and that's rare for him, I have to say, in the half-time interval. They've got work to do, Leigh.
Thanks, Rod. Hoping his side can pick it up in the second half. They know there is so much at stake for them, but when you think that a lot of these guys, the majority of this Leigh side, were at work today doing 9-to-5 jobs, pack it in and travel here and give their all for their club at the end of a long, hard season that dates back to the cold days of February. That's a good kick charge down. It's back to 6, though, says the referee.
Again, I think it's Steve Nash who charges the ball down. I often wonder why players would do that. I think just putting pressure on the kicker, Simon Brown, if he's allowed time and space, will put it on a threepenny bit. But you've just give your opposition 6 more tackles.
But they're making hard work of getting upfield on these tackles. That's the 4th of them as Howison goes to ground. And Leigh certainly seems to have upped the tempo a bit in this start to the second half, at least. That's the 5th tackle. Their supporters trying to rouse them as well. Brown steps away from the challenger Duffy, but Duffy gets there, and Duffy will get the ball back from his side. Well, that seems to suggest a bit of a fired-up start to this second half, at least from the Centurions, or at least from John Duffy.
Well, this seems to have worked for them, Barry. John Duffy putting pressure on, he gets the ball back now, and they're in brilliant field position.
As I was saying, it's a great play, the charge down.
It could be for the Centurions here. Ellis, Ridyard, Donlan on the boards at the start of the second half, but the referee wants to check on.
I just want to see if there's any obstruction, please.
Obstruction. That's burst the bubble, for the moment at least.
Well, they've looked hot the opening 3 minutes, Leigh Centurions, and Ben Thaler asking Ian Smith to just have a little look at this and see if any of the Sheffield players were taken out. Looking at that, that looks okay. There was 2 dummy runners that went through for Leigh Centurions. There's no problem with that. What's the grounding like? I think this could be the opening try in the second half from Stuart Donlan.
Ian Smith, the video ref, and the try is awarded, and that is the response that the Leigh supporters were looking for, and the captain leading the way, Stuart Donlan, getting his 18th try of this campaign, easily outdoing last season's total of 12.
Well, this is why players put pressure on the kickers, and John Duffy, as soon as that ball hits him, he's got to focus on where that ball is. He jumped on the ball, and the next set of 6, they score the try. The movement that they've got, they didn't have that. They weren't winning the ruck in the first half, and as soon as they do that, just look at the time that Ellis and Ridyard have to create the opportunity for Donlan to go into for the try. Big start for Leigh Centurions.
McNannon, 144 goals to his name this season so far, and this to cut the deficit. So this was what we were anticipating from the Centurions. The response our coach was looking for. And Nanin. The flags go up. And Leigh, after a sluggish first 40 minutes, have shown more endeavour in the opening minutes of this second half than they did probably in the first 40. The coach still impassive up there, as is his opposite number.
He looks very pensive, does it? And it's a big kick from Big Nanin. And if those two charge downs are a sign of maybe how Leigh are going to counteract Simon Brown's kicking game, then that's the right tactic. And Ian Millward may well have said to his team, do not let him have an inch of breathing space.
Nash drove that ball back well from the restart. It certainly roused the Leigh Centurion supporters, who, a bit like their side, were fairly muted in the first 40 minutes.
And this is more like Leigh Centurions. The yardage, watch now getting out from dummy half. Dean McGilvray, John Duffy coming off a rolling rope. He's looking to get a quick play of the ball. The Leigh fans are getting up for this now.
And the Eagles have got to try and just steady the ship here. That's the fifth tackle as Ridyard dinks the ball over the top. It's a good kick, that. Into the corner. Just finds touch.
Well, what about that for perfection from Ridyard? We were after this in the first 40 minutes, but they made good yards in that set of 6, and then they come up with a perfect kick. Sheffield Eagles, they can't focus on next week saying that, look, we've got 40 minutes and then we're in a final. They've got to play the next 40 minutes like they played in the first half. Otherwise, the game will go away from them, because Leigh Centurions are too dangerous.
Talapapa, tackled by Robbie Hunter-Paul. Oh, that was offload from Howison, and Quentin Lalu Tonga fortunately for him, was on the same wavelength.
But that was good work from Stuart Little. After being involved in one tackle, the ball got offloaded, straight in. What's next? What have I got to do? And makes the tackle. Good work, Stuart Littler.
Hepworth, his progress halted by 3 Leigh defenders. That's the 4th tackle. Here's Simon Brown, got that bang in the face at the end of the first half. He's okay now. That's the 5th, and Howison. And then it's Pat Smith with the kick, and it's Donlan having to retrieve that ball after losing his footing. The pitch here at Leigh Sports Village in great shape, very lush. The venue this for England against Wales on October the 29th in the Four Nations.
But more venom in the tackles from Leigh Centurions. And there's where Stu Donnelly gets in good position, but he just slips at the last minute. He has to go back behind the ball, and again now, here's a penalty. It's all going against Sheffield in the opening 7 minutes of this game, of this second half. Big Jack Howison. The mark is not square.
So the penalty gives Leigh another opportunity. And they look in the mood to make the most of it now. Really have lifted after that early try from Donlan in this second half. Here's Duffy now. Tackled by his fellow Scottish international Howison. Now Ellis, and Ellis takes him on himself, almost through. In the end, it was a good tackle from Hepworth. Just did enough, the big man. But the danger isn't over yet. Ridyard, Donlan for a second. He's just short the fullback. Higson. Here's Ellis now. Ellis drifting across the field, and his progress halted. That's the 5th. The Eagles under real pressure here now. The pass above Ridyard's head, kicks into the corner, too strong. And not a bad end to that set of 6 for Leigh.
Look at this, beautiful. That's what he's known for, show and go. And he needs to stamp his authority and really get involved. Martin Ridyard's kicking game just a metre too short, and Finnegan just prevents the ball going down again for Stuart Donlan. Jamie Ellis needs to take this ball by the scruff of the neck. This game by the scruff of the neck.
Well, the Eagles would just like to get away from their own try. Oh, but still willing to try it, even in the most craziest circumstances. It's seen there from Missy Talapapa. Quentin Lalu Tonga on the same wavelength.
But they don't need to panic, Bill. They're still 2 points in front. Get back to what they were doing in the first half. Simon Brown kicking early, second, third tackle, and defend that next set of 6.
Well, here is Simon Brown kicking, as Terry suggests, early. Sound travels in this stadium.
But he kicks right, where you've got Donlan and McGilvray. If he would have kicked left, there was acres of space.
We should have said that.
Sorry.
Nanin. Trademark bulldozing run from the centre. Now McGilvray.
Move! Marcus square! Wait, go.
Taylor. Big hit on him by Hepworth on the halfway line. It's Hurst, in fact, who put the tackle in. Ellis. Referee says it's back to 6. Brown played for that. And it's now with Higson. Higson, and back in field comes Maiden. Maiden looking for some support. He's going to have to go on his own. And Lalu Tonga makes the tackle. But quick play the ball. They've got the numbers here. More good defence, this time from Henderson. There's an Eagles, a Leigh player out on the ground in back play. It's Stuart Donlan who's in trouble. The referee has awarded a penalty and he'll now stop the clock.
I want your captain. I want your captain.
Well, he wants to speak to Stuart Donlan, and Stuart Donlan's about 40 metres upfield on the floor.
Who's your captain?
Who's the captain, Ben Thaler says. That's him down there on his back.
Right, I'm running that incident on report back there.
There's nothing on here, isn't it?
No, it's a penalty here.
Who to us, sir?
No, to them. And we've got to be careful there when the ball's gone. So the incident's on report.
So that incident's gone on report. The tackle on Donlan.
Right there. Clock stopped.
Well, it certainly hurt him. After he passes this ball, whoosh, and Menzieri, and he does this a lot, to be fair. His head's down at the point when the ball is passed. His head's down. He's only thinking one thing: I'm going to hit him. And he doesn't know whether he's got the ball, and probably doesn't care.
Well, he's only just back from suspension for reckless play, is Menzieri. So he's obviously intent on making his mark before the season's end. Well, Donlan's recovered. Higson now. Higson.
To move!
Good defence from Vinnie Finnegan. Yeary involved there. Referee tells Higson to get to his feet.
Second goals.
Littler now.
3.
Thought about the offload. Kept a hold of the ball. Duffy, change of direction from Duffy. Gets the pass away to Stuart Littler, and Littler just stuttering into trouble there. 4 tackles gone. Real pressure on the Eagles' try line here now. Their defence is really being tested as Hill straightens it up the middle. That's the 5th tackle. Can the Eagles withstand this assault as Ellis puts the kick in? The ball ricochets and comes up for Sheffield in the end.
They do a very good job defensively, Sheffield. Well, there's a penalty, and a relieving penalty. The fans are getting excited. The Leigh players are getting excited. They know that the game is going their way in the second half. You can see the marker's not scored, Jamie Ellis. That's what the referees give the penalty for, Ben Thaler. But they bought some cheap yards now, Sheffield, and it's helped the forwards out. There'll be easier carries than bringing the ball away from their line.
Go.
Hurst plays the ball. Here's Stringer now. Real athletic front rower, Mick Stringer.
Okay, Stuart. Go. Play that road quicker.
McDonald, his Sostak. Ever reliable in the second row, Alex Sostak. Well, the Eagles seeing the other end of the field for the first time in a long time here and making something of it. And Finnegan will get the second Eagles try of the night. And they've come from nowhere after taking a battering on their own try line to go in for their second try of the night. And Vinnie Finnegan finishing off for only his 7th of the season. Well, that's a great response from this Eagles side, having to defend set after set on their own line against this Leigh side, and Higson has taken a blow in the process. I wonder if that had anything to do with Menzieri.
I think it was Menzieri's see you later. just when they looked like they had no energy whatsoever, Menzieri comes onto a ball and Vinnie Finnegan just follows him up. He knows that there's normally only ever one winner when Menzieri gets the ball. Well, there's the penalty. The marker's not square, and it's just cheap yards up the other end of the park. The next set of 6, they just scored a try, and Henderson and Tonga guy get the ball into big Menzieri's hand, and Vinnie Finnegan, he does very well to score this try. An amazing effort after being under pressure for a number of minutes to go the other end of the park and score a try.
Brown, 2 from 2 so far this evening. And the playoff win here last year could have been a lot less hassle for the Eagles because he only kicked 1 from 6. They ended up winning it by 2 points. Brown, 2 points there. But worryingly for Leigh is that Higson is still out, still being treated. It looked innocuous as Menzieri went past him. There was no handoff, but whether he got a stray boot as
I think he was reaching.
Continued.
As Menzieri runs to him and away from him, he was reaching, and he could well have got a bang on his head. It could be a shoulder problem, a rib problem. I think it's a smart piece of play from Henderson, who spots that they have the numbers. Is it a boot?
It's just as he goes down, he slides down his leg, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, Mark Aston and Was Sabataboa are in dreamland at the minute.
Stretcher coming out, unfortunately.
Oh, yes.
It's gets a boot on the chin. There's Higson, it might even have been his own teammate. I think it was Steve Maiden's boot that caught him.
Yeah, don't worry.
But Higson still down in the side today because of Tommy Goulden's absence.
Well, there you can see, slides down, that's what it is.
Menzies' boot,
Yep.
yeah.
He just kept pumping those legs, big Menzieri, and the right foot has come up and connected with Higson's jaw.
No, that was just a straight boot that we won before.
Well, the good signs for the Leigh medical staff, he's moving, he's talking.
But no risks taken. And Higson obviously struggling.
You know, Menzieri, even when he's defending, he causes problems. When he gives you the big see you later in your face, he causes problems. And again, just his boot slided up into the face of Higson. It wasn't obviously it was an accident. But look at the size of the man.
He's so quiet. He's classic, quiet Papillon.
I wouldn't want him to be loud, Bill.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't want to upset him.
A loud jukebox.
No, this is a big part of the game for both sets of players now. They've got to make sure that they keep warm, they keep focused. Leigh Centurions obviously behind on the scoreboard, and Sheffield Eagles in front, but Sheffield have got to make sure that they keep on playing. Not forget what got them into the lead. They can't just focus on next week saying, hey lads, we've only got 27 minutes to go and we're in a final. It's not about that. They've got to keep performing. And Leigh Centurions, they need to get back to like they were playing in the first 7 minutes of this second half. Speed around the ruck, because that's what caused Sheffield some problems.
Well, Mark Aston's done a tremendous job in the 4 or 5 days that he's had to get his team ready. He's used all his experience as a coach just to fine-tune and touch up the things that he needs to combat what Leigh are going to throw against him. Fine-tune and get it perfect, what he needs his side to do. We'll have another look at the tries. Here's the first one. A lovely straight line, and Sam Scott goes in for the first try. After about half an hour of chess, Jamie Ellis taking the ball to the line, Donlan ducking hard and low, and he gets Leigh's first piece of positivity, and again a smart piece of play on the short side, and Vinnie Finnegan. Is this enough to take the wind out of the sails of the Leigh Centurions side and get Mark Aston to the final?
Can they buck the trend is the question. The Sheffield Eagles, as mentioned earlier on, the Championship Grand Final has been between the first and second sides. The Eagles finishing 4th this season, looking to become the first side then from outside the top 2 to get all the way to the Grand Final. But still, as Adam Higson, the former Leigh Miners player, is strapped to that stretcher.
Well, it's very important they take as much time as they need whenever you get a head injury in rugby league. But look at the body language on both sets of players. You can just see the Sheffield team in the black shirts at the top of your screen. They're all together. The Leigh Centurions fragmented all over the pitch. And the more you watch it, the more you see it. Very, very nasty.
Eagles trying to just stay loose, few stretching exercises. Likewise, Leigh Centurions. So more rugby league action to come over the next couple of days. Well, next 3 days, in fact. Friday, Huddersfield Giants against the Leeds Rhinos, 7:30, HD3. Winner stays in the competition. It's the end of the road for the losers there. And on Sunday at the DW Stadium, Wigan Warriors take on the Catalan Dragons, 4:55 on HD3, and that is followed by the club call decision. All the drama of that, or not.
Who will they choose?
Well, let's ask Mystic Mac over there, or is it Yuri?
Yuri Geller, yes. Do you want me to tell you?
Well, you have to tell us who's going to win the games first.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you and everybody watching, but I'm going to tell them through the power of telepathy.
Through the mind.
So just get ready. There it is. It's gone. I've sent it now. Ready. Watch. Woof. It's gone.
Is that what that noise was?
I hope so.
When did you start that degree? When you were 18?
Higson. This is a bang on the side of the face by the look of things. Robbie Hunter-Paul hoping that this isn't going to be the final curtain call for him, hoping to make an 8th grand final with the Centurions. Ian Millwood hoping to bow out with one more game, but they've got, and now they've allowed that Eagles try in. They've got to start again, fighting their way back in. 14-6 they trail. Mark Aston, a really, really shrewd operator, Mark Aston, and very much part of the fabric at the Sheffield Eagles club.
He is Mr. Sheffield. He does absolutely everything, Mark Aston, and given a lot of players a lot of opportunities in the professional game, and he's 26 minutes away from getting to the final.
And the Sheffield club really do contribute. Not only they produce Championship Rugby League, then they do a lot of work in the academies and the scholarships. They recently beat London Harlequins, and when you think about how many players are going through the system at the Harlequins, it's a big effort for Dean Thomas and Mark Aston and the rest of the staff. But just slightly concerning times now. Hopefully Adam Higson makes a good, speedy recovery.
Well, it looked so innocuous initially, but Adam Higson leaving the field on a stretcher to the applause of the crowd. And the 24-year-old's strapped to that stretcher, and let's hope that all those precautions pay off, and we'll hope to hear word from Rod on the sidelines about that.
And that's what players put themselves through, even little things, that little collisions, little contacts that don't look much, obviously could be very serious. Let's hope there's nothing wrong with Adam Higson.
Player's been stopped for 7 minutes while Adam Higson has been treated, and in fact I think signs are that Adam Higson
Keep working, fellas. Concentration, you two.
gives the thumbs up as he's leaving on the field, leaving on the stretcher, so hopefully he'll be coming round shortly as the game restarts. And it was out on the full. Sostak doing very well there.
Well, that was very intelligent from Sostak there. Puts his foot off the island, catches the ball, and knows that that's...
Well, he even had to have a little look around over his right shoulder just to make sure.
Obviously a ballet dancer as a youngster.
Never in doubt. So the penalty virtually from the restart. 2 balls on the pitch, and the players have got to get back into the rhythm now. That delay came just after the Eagles had taken that 14-6 lead, with Vinnie Finnegan's try converted by Simon Brown. And they're on the attack again now, and Leigh could really work against them. They started the second half with so much enthusiasm, really fired up. They've got the points on the board, and now they've lost a little bit of momentum. And here is Quentin Lalu-Tongagai, who stretches out for his first of the night. And back-to-back tries, albeit separated by an 8-minute delay from the Sheffield Eagles, have taken them closer to this championship grand final. And QLT, as he's known to his teammates, gets his 20th of the campaign with that try. The penalty from the restart, and the Eagles just making the Centurions pay.
Well, Sheffield were the team that kept their composure. And look at this from Sostak. He had to have a little glance over his shoulder just to make sure that his foot was out of play. And when Tongagai gets the ball, he mesmerises players. They don't know whether he's going to slip the ball to Menzieri or whether he's going to take them on. He gets the ball, he has it in 2 hands, and this is where he could pass it, and he just stands players up. And Ellis, when he looks over that try again, he'll be disappointed with his effort.
I think Tom Armstrong will as well. There was enough numbers. If man on man goes for who's got the ball, Tom Armstrong should get Tongagai.
Simon Brown with a conversion attempt. Well, Lalu-Tongagai has been to a grand final with his previous club, the Logan Magpies. Won 2 minor premierships and a grand final with them. Brown then from the sidelines, and it looks good. It is looking good for the Eagles. Simon Brown has his kicking boots with him tonight. Kicked only 1 from 6 in the playoff win here last year, but he's bang on target tonight. 4 from 4, and the Eagles ahead by 20 points to 6. And we can hear from Rod Studd on the sidelines. News of Adam Hickson, Rod.
Yes, it is positive news, Bill. It was a horrible injury, wasn't it? A horrible incident, but as he went down on the stretcher towards the medical room, he was able to move his hands, and he gave a little thumbs up to the crowd, and he managed to say a word or two to Robbie Hunter-Paul, who was on the sidelines at the time. So he's now in with the Leigh doctors, getting the medical attention and medical care, but there were positive signs as he went down into the tunnel. That's good news.
And the Eagles have again kicked early. They've kicked very early, in actual fact.
That was a 40-20 attempt from Simon Brown.
It's good chase as well.
Well, on the second play, they chose to kick the ball when they're down near their line. And look at the meters that they've got. This is where you want to defend. You want to defend up this end of the park. And Sheffield, they're encouraging each other now. They're waving their arms. They're nominating. They're communicating.
Tell you what, Dane McDonald is in all sorts of trouble for the Eagles. His left arm is hanging virtually useless by his side. He is struggling. He made that last tackle with one hand. Nanin, lovely ball round the side. McGilvray is tackled.
Sheffield are trying to shield him as much as they can. Talipapa giving a penalty away. And I'm sure if Leigh Centurions know how vulnerable McDonald is, they'll come over. Here's the penalty.
And no sign of Dane McDonald being taken from the field. He's flexing that left arm now. As I mentioned earlier on in the commentary, he's been having treatment. There's the tackle, and he's just making that one-handed. And Nanin now trying to bounce off the defenders, gets the pass away to Ridyard. Stringer collars him.
Well, Leigh have to be the team that scores next, or this is all over Red Rover for them.
Ellis, here's Littler now, and Littler almost able to get the pass away, but couldn't see anybody. Robbie Hunter-Paul, ball goes to ground. It went forward in actual fact, said the referee, and the pressure for the moment is off the Eagles line.
Well, Stuart Little, he's standing up in the tackle, he's got his arms free, and he's looking for someone to support him. Here's Robbie Paul.
A little nudge from Tom Armstrong.
Disappointed here, Millward. A try-scoring opportunity. Someone needed to support Stuart Little there. If you know your teammate can get his arms free, you've got to support him on his left or his right shoulder.
Well, what we're doing here, let's form this scrum properly. Come on, we've done 60 odd
Referee Ben
minutes.
Taylor wants that scrum to form again.
Lock in, wait there.
Sheffield won't be bothered, that's for sure.
Get it in.
Clock still running. Here's Finnegan.
Move!
One of the Eagles try scorers tonight.
You know, Sheffield are playing with confidence, but these are nervous carries now. None of the players will want to make mistakes, and just simple carries, whether it be scooting from dummy half or just one-up plays. That's all they need to do. Get to the kick.
Three tackles gone. Will they go for an early kick again, perhaps? Peter Green. 4 on the tackle count. And Brown in position. Missy Talapapa. Oh, and the ball has come loose, and the referee says that's a knock-on. Leigh will have head and feed, and an opportunity maybe went begging there.
Well, Mark Aston will have wanted Simon Brown to kick that ball down the field, and Talapapa, who's had an excellent game. Every player in an Eagles shirt has run his blood to water tonight, but Simon Brown coming up with a bad decision, and I'm sure that message is going on. Kick the ball down the other end.
Robbie Hunter-Paul. Here is Martin Ridyard, and Ridyard that went backwards, and Littler picks it up and takes it forwards. Ridyard slow to get to his feet after that collision. Here's James Taylor, another one of the real loyal servants of this Centurions club. Robbie Hunter-Paul. Ellis, straight pass from Ellis. Nannins knocked that on.
They don't look very crisp, do they, Leigh Centurions? I've not seen them make as many mistakes. They look a very, very nervous side. The ball going to ground on the right edge, going to ground on the left edge. They're looking to break Sheffield down. They're looking to play outside of them because they're playing very physical in the middle of the park, and there's the mistake from Nannin.
Well, fear's the big word here. Ian Millward knows that his team are playing with fear, and Sheffield are playing without it. They're not bothered. They've played the game at the pace that they want. They've played the game plan that they want. And Leigh, you're right, nerves have played a massive part in it.
Corey Hansen is on, I think, for the Eagles, because Dane McDonald has had to leave the field with that injury. Hurst. 3 tackles gone, and the Eagles seemingly in control here. There's Sam Scott, first half try scorer for this Eagles side. Peter Green now.
5 movements.
That's the 5th, and Brown not under any great pressure. They were really pressurising him at the start of the second half, but again Brown able to pick his spots. Well, it was McGilvery in the end who fielded the ball.
Well, if Simon Brown's the one who does 90% of the kicking, you think that Leigh Centurions will put pressure on him. He's got all the time in the world to get that away, and there's a penalty now. It's Peter Green. He's all over the Leigh Centurions play. He won't let him get to his feet, Stuart Donlan.
Simon Brown has put boot to ball 19 times in this match, so everything going through the boots of Simon Brown. So you'd logically think to pressure him while he's got the ball, giving him or taking away the time and space would help your side.
Robbie Hunter-Paul, a little scooting run from him. All it takes is one try and a goal from the Centurions, and they're back in the hunt here. Still plenty of time for them, and they'll get another penalty.
And this is when teams can't cope with Leigh Centurions. When they play the game like this, everything is around the ruck.
This is a great opportunity now for Leigh to challenge this Sheffield side. Robbie Hunter-Paul quickly closed down at marker by Stringer. Taylor now trying to twist out of trouble, but Scott makes the tackle on him. Robbie Hunter-Paul, Ellis, Nannin, and Nannin thundering to the line. He's short, in fact he's lost the ball, and the Eagles congratulate each other on great defence, and the coach wonders what it will take.
Defensively, a massive effort from Sheffield. Just look at the players come from the inside. Even though there's players falling off, there's still players getting themselves in this position. And Sam Scott, he puts his body on the line, and Mick Nannin, he attempts to get the ball over the line for the try, but he can't do that. Here we go. But they're working very, very hard.
I think I can read his mind there. How did we not score in that position? And scratching his head. One-on-one, you'd back Mick Nannin every single time. But Telly Papa has just had a real good dig and said, no, not today, big man.
Well, problems for both sides. We saw Dane McDonald struggling, but I think Centurions have got a problem as well. Rod?
Yeah, just first on Dane McDonald, Bill, that arm injury, been carrying it for quite a while out there and just simply couldn't carry on any longer. So Sheffield effectively down now to 3 men on the interchange bench, but they still look pretty buoyant on that sideline. Mark Aston is just willing those seconds down, and problems too for Leigh, as you suggested. John Duffy now being patched up on the sidelines, got a right knee problem which is causing him a lot of pain, but just desperate to get back out there. So Leigh really down to the bare bones as well with that awful injury to Adam Hickson too. Problems for Ian Millward.
Good kick from Brown.
Do you know, we say it all the time, don't we? He's not getting fed up, and neither is Sheffield getting fed up of the kicking game. They'd rather have the ball up this end of the park, or even have to defend up that end of the park, than when they're down near their end. And there's the mistake.
And the Eagles have it back, and Leigh beginning to look desperate now.
Well, when you're winning by 14 points and you keep kicking the ball behind the opposition, when they come out, this is where they're not nervous. It's just Martin Ridyard. He catches the ball on Mick Nannin's leg, makes the mistake, drops the ball, puts Leigh Centurions under pressure.
15 minutes to go, and the Eagles ahead by 20 points to 6, and looking for more points here. Finnegan retrieving that stray pass. Quentin Lalu Tonga now Mensah-Yeri. That's the 4th tackle. Henderson finds Brown. Brown for Ryan Hepworth. That's the 5th, and Hepworth goes to ground bang in front of those posts. Henderson, little chip kick ahead, too strong.
Well, there was too much on that kick, and if he had his time again, the left edge, there was a lot of players pushing up, and Mensah-Yeri, he was one-on-one with Jamie Ellis. He was screaming for the ball.
Here's Tom Armstrong, hero of that Northern Rail Cup win in Blackpool, the final, when his late try secured the trophy for the Centurions. Hopes were high going into this game of a tilted a double, but they've got work to do now if they're to stay in with a chance of getting through to the grand final. They need points on the board soon. Here's Chris Hill, plays the ball. Ellis now, Ridyard, Nannin. And Nannin, they've dealt with him well. It's good defence again. On the last, and Ridyard ghosts the kick over the top. And Missy Talapapa comes and collects it and looks to counter.
Again, a tired chase, a tired kick. Not too much structure in it. And Stuart Littler, James Taylor just trying to buy the extra second. And sport and rugby league are no respecters of history, they're no respecters of reputation, and Sheffield have had no respect for Leigh. They've come here and had a real dig. And it looks like they'll go away and make their way to the final.
Leigh heading for a fate they haven't suffered all season, back-to-back defeats. Henderson puts the kick in. And again, the chase is willing. And they're saying to Leigh, come on, come and have a go. Well, McGilvery does. Says the referee, Ben Thaler, play the ball. McGilvery just in some doubt whether the tackle had been completed.
Well, there's just over 12 minutes to go in this game. And it'll be a big call to write Leigh off now, but I think Sheffield, they just keep turning up for each other. Whether they have the ball, whether they haven't got the ball, they're putting themselves where the action is. And that's what's pleasing Mark Aston on the sideline.
Here is Ridyard, good step from Ridyard. Ridyard needs some support. He might not. Bergin eventually gets a hold of him. That's the 5th tackle. If only one of the speedsters had been there with him. They're going for it on the last, and it comes to nothing, and a great opportunity goes begging for the Leigh Centurion side.
Down, and that's another try bombed. Martin Ridyard makes that break, the only player in support, just on the inside. He can't get to him, and Steve Nash, he can't find him, but heroic defence again from Sheffield.
Well, that's where Missy Talapapa, he misses the tackle, then Tim Bergen turns up, and then you look back, and then Joe Hurst turns back to deny Leigh Centurions.
That's one, move!
12 minutes, just under, for the Centurions to try and save this.
Well, Sheffield seem to be taking it as a personal insult whenever their line's breached, and that's why they're working very hard. And again, the forwards have been asked to do an awful lot of work in the middle of the park against Leigh, but they're there to bring the ball back. One of the sides of Ryan Hepworth bringing that ball forward. A good shot from Chris Hill.
Mentioned that England against Wales game here on 29th of October. There is another big game at the Sports Hall here at Leigh Sports Village coming up earlier in October, when the England wheelchair rugby league team will be in action against the French on October the 8th. Grand final day, of course, at Old Trafford in the Rapid Support Services Wheelchair International. And if you haven't seen wheelchair rugby league, it's a spectacular game and incredibly ferocious.
Just like this game. I was just watching some
from Henderson there.
I was just watching some of the Leigh Centurions players, and they're struggling to get back behind the ball. There's Chris Hill. He's going to try and weave some magic.
And they're not going to score from here. I'd be amazed if they make a 50-60 metre break, and Sheffield playing the right way, keeping them down here.
Leigh looking a weary side now. It has been a long season. You go back to the dark, cold days of February when the season kicked off for these players with the Northern Rail competition, and Donlan, whose try at the start of this second half lifted Leigh's hopes, puts that ball to ground, and the coach maybe looking resigned to the side's fate now, perhaps.
Well, he rides over the tackle, Stuart Donlan, and it's Andrew Henderson that's underneath, and that just dislodges that ball.
Both teams keep the discipline, it's good.
And you can see the frustration now starting going to Leigh Centurions, but Mark Aston, he won't be frustrated. He knows it's all about. There's 10 minutes left on this clock.
One move!
Mark Aston, just under 10 minutes away now from becoming the first coach to take a side from outside the top 2 to the Championship Grand Final in the 8 years of its existence. The Eagles from 4th, looking to take on Featherstone Rovers, who finished first. Eagles finished 14 points behind the Centurions in the standings at the end of the season, but they've come into great form at the end of this campaign. There were some doubts whether that form would travel. They'd won 3 in a row at home and racked up all these points. They've done it away from home, although Brown's knocked that ball on.
Well, a simple mistake from Simon Brown, shaking his head. You can see he was looking up where he was going to run before he had control of that ball. But Sheffield finishing very strongly. And it's now how they've played during the year, it's how they finish off. And with some of the wins like Halifax and today against Leigh Centurions, it's going to be a tough contest for Featherstone Rovers next week.
Here's Ellis. Donlan, and again, great defence. Andy Henderson, another one of these really experienced campaigners. Henderson, 32 years of age now, making a crucial tackle there, and there have been plenty of those. Chris Hill has worked as hard as ever. Here's Ridyard now. Still time, you feel, that if Leigh could get another breath of wind in the sails, they might yet trouble this Eagles lead. Here's Nanin, bounces away. Ridyard across the field, and out comes Quentin Lalu Tongagai to make the tackle.
You feel they need a penalty, they need a repeat set at least.
The ball reaches Ellis, and Ellis stabs the kick in and chases it himself. It ricochets for Nanin. Nanin will go for it himself and get there. He had support outside him, but Mick Nannin decided to go on his own. He gets the try, he'll go for the conversion quickly in the hope that the Eagles, that Leigh can still overhaul the Eagles here. And this time, the bounce of the ball going Leigh's way, that ricochet coming up for Nannin, and he didn't hang around. He had a man outside him, but he decided, no, this is mine. He normally spends quite a while getting himself lined up for these conversion attempts. Mick Nannin hasn't got that luxury.
Nope.
And he's missed it. That's why he normally spends a lot of time lining them up.
Well, right on cue, said that they needed another repeat set of 6. And it was a bit of a look. The kick on the last tackle from Ellis. The ricochet from Sheffield, from Missy Talapapa. It goes forward, it goes into Mick Nannin's arms. And there was no way he was going to be denied from scoring this try. You've got to take your look, you've got to take every opportunity. And the Ellis, the kick from Missy Talapapa goes straight into the hands of Nannin. And there's the try. Unfortunately for Leigh Centurions and Mick Nannin, he couldn't convert it.
Okay, Brown, back on.
The Eagles taking their time about restarting this game, and Brown with a good one, and Robbie Hunter-Paul and Stuart Littler almost got in a tangle there. Still time. They could have done with that Nannin conversion to go through. And now a test of the Eagles' nerves here.
6.5 minutes and 10 points.
That's doable. Certainly, from what you've seen of the Centurions this season, prior to the playoffs, just a couple of defeats. Here's Armstrong trying to get away from Quentin Lalu Tonga.
Well, Leigh Centurions, as Halifax will tell you through that Northern Rail victory, they will not want to give up. And there's been some things that have gone against them that has deflated them at times, but they're on a roll now.
Nannin, that pass went forwards. They had to try it. They had to try it. Nannin looks to the skies. If it had come off, then McGilvray would have been free.
Time's off.
Well, it's just not working for them this evening. Well, again, even when that ball goes over the head, just watch Tinbergen, or you see Tinbergen just turn around and chase. Even if that ball would have come off, I'm sure Tinbergen would have took McGilvray into touch.
Wait there, lads, wait! Stuart, head in!
So,
Back on, out!
relief for the Eagles, because that was alarming. And now they're looking to counter. And Missy Talapapa making good yards for them. And that could be the threats for... Oh, and then what a time to come up with a pass like that. Quentin Lalu Tonga, the ball was forward to Menzieri. Leigh packed the scrum. Was it?
Well, I can't believe Quentin Lalu Tonga, he passes that ball, Menzieri overruns it, but then he turns around and gives the big centre to serve. I'm not sure he knows how big he actually is.
So, Leigh have it back.
Play on.
Well,
Coming up to the last 5 minutes.
Sorry, Bill, they've been untidy tonight, Leigh. Even the scrum plays, set-piece plays, very untidy, very messy. A lot of anxiety in this game for them.
And yet, they're not out of it. Chris Hill, 3 tackles gone. Could be on for a grandstand finish here. The Centurions fans behind those posts, urging the side on. Littler, Donlan, he's got Armstrong out wide. Armstrong for the corner, Maiden in field. What defence from the Eagles. What defence from this Sheffield side on their own try line. Crucial tackle.
What a tackle. Alex Shostak is the man that makes the tackle. But look how many Sheffield shirts. This is a try for all money. Outstanding defence.
Armstrong for a moment looking as though he's going to repeat the heroics of Blackpool, but Shostak, the Scottish international, who has been outstanding this evening with the tackle that maybe settles this game. Brown, deep kick. Here is Donlan.
That's one. Move! Ready, boys. Go!
Now Littler. Well, into the last 5 minutes.
Well, they've won this game, Sheffield Eagles, purely and simply because they've worked very hard on defence. Even when Mills has got the ball, look at that, 3 players in attendance. to stop them from going forward.
They've beat them in every area. They've outthought them, they've outfought them, they've out...
Here's Nash. Nash, again, no support. It's the second time he's made a good break, but there was nobody there. And here's Ridyard. Kick ahead, and Quentin Lalu-Tungagai fields the ball. And again, Leigh not maximising their opportunities there.
Well, Leigh Centurion's making a break through Stephen Nash, but then you look back, and when they get there for the next play, they look up where they can go, and there's nowhere because they're all back defending.
Here's Jack Howison, a proud captain of the Sheffield Eagles side, heading towards the Championship Grand Final. The club that really struggles for recognition in the city of Sheffield at times for their efforts. Littler, desperate throw of the dice, trying to get that ball free. But this is another Eagles effort that deserves wider recognition in the Steel City.
Well, David Mills, knowing that they need the ball back, he strips that ball off Ryan Hepburn. Only a few minutes to go in this game, and going into the game, a lot of emotion with Leigh Centurions, with it being the last game for Robbie Hunter-Paul, Ian Millward moving on, also Jamie Ellis and Chris Hill. Has that affected the players? I'm sure they'll say it's not.
The last grand final was 5 years ago when they beat Swinton in the National League 2 title decider. And they'll go into this grand final on the back of 4 wins in a row now. Their last defeat was 12 points to 34 by Featherstone Rovers.
And also, they'll be battle-hardened. They've played some very, very tough games, and they've come out winners.
Howison plays the ball. Brown stabs the kick in, and Maiden under pressure will concede the goal line dropout, and that sums up the Eagles this evening. Impeccable goal, impeccable field kicking.
Well, Simon Brown, as we keep saying, if he's given the time and pressure and the lack of pressure and the thought time, he's going to come up with the right decision with his boot.
Leigh go for a nothing restart. No hope of getting that ball back. So disappointing end to Ian Millward's 2 years at the Centurions, but it shouldn't be remembered for this one game. There's the Northern Rail Cup, there's the way the side has been turned around. Remember, but for an administration change, they'd have been relegated. They made the most of that reprieve, finishing second in the table. Henderson under those posts. But it's a proud night for the Sheffield Eagles side, reaching a grand final in the Championship. And Brown will go for one, or will he? Or will they go for another goal line dropout? Or they might go for a try. They'll get the ball back again. Take your choice.
Well, I'll tell you what, could have got that ball down. It almost bounced over his head. Tungagai puts it on the floor, and there's a real scramble in the in goal. And Sheffield as a club have done a fantastic job. Mark Aston, when you think about Mark Aston and Darryl Powell, 2 ex-Sheffield teammates meeting in a final, it's mouth-watering, Bill.
Wait! Go.
Here's Hepworth. Well, what a difference it makes for Misty Talapapa. Blood, I think, pouring from his head, but in the playoffs last year, he left here on crutches with his ankle broken. Now he's going to go to a grand final with this Sheffield Eagles side. As the clock counts down. And Alex Sostak, outstanding for the Eagles this evening.
All the forwards have been outstanding. Howison, Stringer in the early exchanges, and the back three. Fantastic victory.
Celebrations on the sidelines. And Jack Howison and his forwards who've laid the platform for this Eagles victory celebrate out on the pitch, and Leigh on their knees after their hopes of a double this season come to nothing. It's the end of the road for Robbie Hunter-Paul, not the way he wanted. He was aiming for 8 grand finals. The end of the road at Leigh for Ian Millward, who moves on to the Castleford Tigers. But for the Sheffield Eagles, the season lives on. There's a grand final to look forward to for Andy Henderson and Quentin Lalu-Tungagai. Young Pat Smith, they can regroup and have a breather before they meet Featherstone Rovers on Sunday week in the grand final. Simon Brown gets the man of the match nod. A hard call to make after that performance from the Eagles, and the removal men arrive in the nick of time, and he's with Rod.
Memento, listen, you've been here 3 times this season and the combined margin was 100 points. They were ahead of you, Leigh. How on earth have you turned the form around so spectacularly?
Well, when at the beginning of the season, we all said we can win this league. I don't think a lot of people believed us, but at the end of the day, we just stuck to his game plan. We just listened to what Tubbs has been saying and we've just gone grinding away. The better thing about this team is there's team spirit. We're all like brothers. It's just absolutely minute to minute.
The first half was particularly impressive. I don't think you made a mistake in your kicking game. I don't know if you can remember much of the first half because you got a bang on the nose, didn't you? But I mean, that was the key to it. The platform you laid there, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're good team, Leigh. You got to keep turning them around. If you get them big forwards like the Chris Hill and stuff like that, they'll just dominate you. Get them forward, just keep turning them around. And hopefully, have a good defence.
Now for Featherstone Rovers, just assess your chances in the final at Warrington.
End of the day, it's the final. Just like I said, mate, no one expected us to come in and win, and we have done. Just going to take next week and see how it goes. Can also say a big shout out to Emma at home. I love you.
Thanks, Simon. Mark Aston, look at him. I've never seen a man with a bigger grin. This is like 1998 all over again, almost here in the Sheffield Eagles camp. Just some of how proud you are of the team, Mark.
Oh, they were outstanding, and you know, nobody's given us a chance this season. We started off pretty sluggish, but towards the end of the season, when it counts, we've come up. You know, but I want to talk about the attitude of the players. They've been outstanding. You know, they said they wanted to do a little bit better than what we did last season. We finished 4th in the league, ticked a box. And now we've got one step further than we did last year, and that's got to be down to the players. You know, they've been great. They're busted. There's people playing with jabs and you know, injuries as you do at this time of the season. But you can see that they're a together team, and the team concept that we worked so hard on has pulled us through. And you know, there were times in there where you bang your head against a brick wall, you're thinking, oh my God, but it's all worthwhile. You know, the fans are there, the players deserve it. We've got Prez out tomorrow night presentation. We'll have a look over the weekend, and then we're prepared to go to a final against Featherstone, my old mate.
Yeah, against your old mate, Darryl Powell, of course. Now, look, this club has made a living out of doing things tough and being the underdogs and making upsets. You're the first club in this division to come from outside the top 2 and reach the final. That's quite an achievement in itself.
Well, again, down to the players, you know, they've really bought into it. Last season, we were a little bit disappointed because we had to go to Leigh, Barrow, and then dropped at the final third. And, you know, we've had a better preparation this year. We've played 2 games at home, which is great, at Bramall Lane, great facility. And then we've come here, which is another great facility. We like playing on the big stage, and, you know, they can achieve anything. And, you know, I'm really proud of them. They want to be proud of themselves. And, as I say, you know, we've got a decent day tomorrow. We'll have a few beers tonight and enjoy the occasion. Thank you.
I'm sure you will, and we look forward to seeing you at Warrington. Thank you, Mark.
Just a quick one from my mum and dad sat in Turkey. That won't feel. Cheers.
Thanks, Mark. Well done.
Enjoyed that. And now Mark Aston can look forward to a showdown with his old teammate at Sheffield, Darryl Powell, in that grand final at Warrington a week on Sunday. Leigh 10, Sheffield Eagles 20, the final scoreline, and Leigh, glimmer of hope at the start of the second half when Donlan went in for that try, but it's a dominant performance from the Eagles tonight.